Okay, welcome back, everybody, to Old School Sports with Mike and the Hammer, and let's get right to it. We got a big show today, got a lot of info. We're going to start off with those Red Sox, move on to the Celtics, and then to the Bruins. And Vrabel and Russini hasn't died yet. We're going to talk about them, and then we'll go to the Pats draft. But Hammer, I think we should start off with those Red Sox and CORA being fired. What's up with that?
Well, Mike, if we're talking Red Sox, I got to put my little clown hat on because what a clown show it is. I'm telling you that. Something important that you need to discuss?
No, it's just somebody from business.
Okay. So the Red Sox last week.
5 games out, though. They're only 5 games out, Tom.
Yeah, they're going to be 7 out by the next 2 Yankee games. Okay, they have 4 guys in their lineup that are batting under 200. Story at 189, Meyer at 196, Duran 162, and Durbin at 155. That's unbelievable. So for a team that you need to string together 3 hits to score a run because you're getting home runs, how the hell are you going to do it with this lineup?
Yeah.
And then they have Anthony at 225, Monasterio at 214, and Navarro at 240. I mean, 7 out of your 9 starters, or,
225 or less, right?
Yeah, how in the world are you going to score any runs? And they don't. So now I say you need a shakeup. And, yeah, you can get rid of the manager. Why not, right?
Yeah.
I think he's lost interest. But it's the hitting coach, this Peter False guy. Since 2021, he's been the hitting coach. They've sucked since 2021, all right? Dylan Lawson is the assistant coach. Fire him. John Sotopoulos. He's a major league. I don't even know how to pronounce his name. Never heard of him. But he's the assistant major league hitting coach. Fire him. And Joe Cronin, not the good Joe Cronin, the baseball player that had a Hall of Fame career. This guy, Joe Cronin, is the Major League Baseball hitting strategist. Well, first of all, Joe, your strategy stinks because this team can't hit the ball.
But Tom,
Mike just showed the video. I mean, we called for a lot of Red Sox, people like CORA, I didn't mention a bench coach, but I mentioned pretty much everybody else, anyone that had to do with the team's offensive production. And they all got canned, except for one guy. I don't know how he kept his job, but yeah, I was talking about Faust, who's the hitting coach, canned, his assistant canned, the strategist canned, CORA himself, boom, gone. So the Red Sox totally cleaned house, and they really had to. It was such a dysfunctional team.
yeah, I'm not sure, whether he deserved it or not, given the horses that he had. He didn't really have the players. But sometimes you just need to shake things up. I think he was there 8 years. I think, it gets stale after a while. They got to shake things up.
Well, there was a lot of internal fighting going on, and that was the problem. CORA was bitching and complaining about Breslow, the general manager, and the players he gave him. So Breslow saw what was coming down the chute.
He's protecting him, yeah.
Breslow, the general manager, is protecting his own job.
Yeah.
So he fired CORA. Because CORA, this act is getting old. He was crying and whining when Chaim Bloom was the general manager. And CORA won that power struggle, and Chaim Bloom got fired. So, if anything, if this nitwit Breslow has done anything, he knows self-preservation.
Exactly. So he saw it with Chaim Bloom. He says, that's going to happen to me. Let's act on this quick before it gets out of hand.
Right, because as you know, CORA was a John Henry guy. When CORA got suspended from Major League Baseball for cheating with the Houston Astros, the Red Sox are the only organization that took him back with open arms. So
Right.
CORA owed a debt to the Red Sox.
Yeah.
So he was going to stay here as long as he had to. And when they interviewed him after he got fired, his first thing and all he said was, "I'm happy." Of course you're happy. And you know what? I'm happy too. You're an overrated hack as a coach anyways. The only time he ever won was when he had this veteran-led 2018 World Series team that had star after star after star
Great
on
team.
it. And now that the Red Sox have morphed into this ridiculous cheap-ass team that won't spend any money and they're in middle and payroll in baseball, he can't manage young kids.
Yeah, it's easy if you have the horses, but you still have to have them. I don't know.
Yeah.
Most of the players have expressed disappointment, but most of them, the veterans, were with them. Anyway.
Because that's the thing. CORA would take care of their veterans, like a Trevor Story who can't even bat his weight. batting in the 2-hole, playing shortstop, can't even reach first base from shortstop, you know? And then your boy Duran, that knucklehead, he gets his playing time. He doesn't deserve it. He just makes too many errors and too many mistakes on the bases.
He just plays hard. That's all. That's all I like about him, you know. And so, what about the new guy, Chad Tracy? Now he was managing the Worcester team for like the last 4 years or so, and a lot of these younger guys have played for him. So
they have. So that's one thing you have going forward. Here's a thing that's like shows you everything you need to know about CORA. Okay. Roman Anthony, who's the next, big thing for the Red Sox.
Ted Williams.
Yeah, who's supposed to be the next Ted Williams. He had missed 4 games in a row with a sore back. The day CORA gets fired and the new manager comes in, a manager that he likes, all of a sudden, what happens? He's in the lineup. So to me, it's like there was a mutiny. The young guys, Marcelo Maya. He, CORA's always said, oh, we can't hit like left-handed pitching or whatever, and he's always keeping him down. So it's all these young guys that the Red Sox have been promoting as the next big thing coming up in CORA, they're blaming him for not giving them the playing time or not, having them get any better.
So there's a little mutiny amongst the young guys, you think?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and as far as Breslow goes, the general manager, once again, because a lot of people don't know who the hell he is, used to be a Red Sox pitcher years ago, but he is the ultimate baseball nerd. He's just a robot. And his thing was, I've got to get rid of the manager because things aren't going well. Because if they look deep into the trades that I've made in the last couple of years, it pretty much shows that Breslow doesn't know what the hell he's doing. I mean, look in the offseason. He picked up Sonny Gray, an older pitcher who's on the IR list. Oh, what a shock that is, that after like 2 weeks of the season, he's hurt. And the only reason they got him is because they gave up a lot. Richard Fitz and Brandon Clark and Patrick Gale. You gave up 3 young guys for 1 old guy. And the caveat of the whole thing was that St. Louis is paying $20 million of Sonny Gray's salary. So you took a crappy player because you got him for so cheap.
The caveat. Did you go to Weymouth?
Yeah, I did.
Oh,
yeah.
That's pretty
But here's
good.
the other thing too, and this is like probably the worst abysmal trade ever, was you lose Bregman in free agency, and you should have kept him, but you were too cheap to pay him. He was your third baseman that, hits a ton of home runs, RBIs, great guy in the clubhouse that held the team together, and he was a big CORA guy. That's the only reason why he came here last year. So, you lost him.
That's on ownership, not
right.
on
But I'm just saying you lost him.
Yeah.
Now you get Durbin and you traded Kyle Harrison, a left-handed pitcher. You know how lefties are like gold in baseball, right?
Oh,
Lefty pitchers. This guy on Sunday, 6 innings pitched for Milwaukee, 1 hit, no runs, 14 strikeouts. Not only did you give up him, you gave up Shane Drohan and David Hamilton. David Hamilton was a pretty good player for you last year, filling in and stuff like that.
Fast
So
guy,
another
yeah.
3-for-1 player, and Durbin's batting 167. So to me, I'd be looking at the general manager and say, you don't know how to judge talent. We brought in a couple guys on helping us, and you gave away guys that are helping other teams. But he gets rid of CORA, and right now the heat is off him.
Well, Breslow says they have the team. They have the team to win, and it looks like he wants to play small ball. He says the Sox they got to use their speed. This is the new coach now, who's coming from Breslow. Probably came from Breslow. That they want to use their speed and athleticism going forward. And what about Sam Kennedy? Why does he get a free ride here? They asked Kennedy about it. He said, "Well, it was Breslow's decision. We support him."
Sam Kennedy is like the mouthpiece of the Red Sox. He's John Henry's boy, okay? Kennedy's had the job since 2002, and he's been president since 2015. And he portrays himself as, I'm from here. I know what the fans want. I don't think you do, you sellout. You know what I mean? Right. You know what John Henry wants, and he wants to keep money in his pocket because you're not spending it.
Right.
So they had a press conference the other day, which was ridiculous, with Breslow and Kennedy. Henry, the owner of the team, once again wouldn't talk. Then they went and they talked to the players in the locker room. And once again, he's in the locker room, the coach, the manager, the guy that owns the team, but he wouldn't say a word. John Henry just doesn't say anything about anything. So they had like 2 minutes. They talked to the players. They said, we fired CORA. Here's your new manager, blah, blah, blah. And oh, by the way, all these other guys are fired too, which you never see during a season. But like a guy like Trevor Story, who's a veteran, is like, you know, we didn't have a chance to respond. We didn't have any of our input.
Right.
You know, and to me, I could see at one point, if he's one of the reasons why the manager got fired. He's not even, like you said, he's batting about 170.
Right.
And if he was playing better, then he could have a voice. But I'd be like, you know what? Shut up and play. You know?
You know what I think? You know, I think this is all predetermined. That they wanted to fire him. They wanted to fire him before the year started, and they just needed a reason. Because how many games in are they? Like 30 games or so, or not even?
Well, they're 29 games in now.
Right.
I mean, they were 9-17, 8 games below 500 in last place.
Right, but I think it was
So that's
predetermined.
26 games, Weymouth math.
Okay, so they don't even have 30 games in, and very rarely does it happen in sports,
Never happens.
especially in baseball, that a manager gets fired. So it's almost like it was predetermined. They had a little huddle before the year. We kind of want CORA to go, but we kind of can't. Let's find a reason, and the reason was they got off to a poor start, and they nixed him. So, what do you say to that?
No, I just think they probably were looking for an excuse to get rid of him because they know he's going to find a job right away. It's not like you have to pay him for the next 2 years because people think he's a great manager, and he is good with a veteran team. And I was talking to Tom from Delco in Philadelphia once he got fired, and I said, this is going to be your next manager. And he scoffed at the idea. And then today, the Philadelphia manager got fired, but it looks like Don Mattingly is in the interim manager. But I wouldn't be surprised if things don't work out and Philadelphia doesn't turn it around if CORA's not going to be there. Because him and Dombrowski won the World Series with the Red Sox.
Sure.
And Philadelphia is a veteran team that has a lot of high-priced guys, the kind of guys that CORA likes to manage. But I'll tell you who one thing is, a guy that's going to be jettisoned out of town is Trevor Story. Because he was melting off, like I said, I want answers, I want answers. First time he ever opened his mouth. And ownership doesn't like when you talk back to them.
No, he's gone.
So there was a story in the paper today, you know, you might have saw it, and they were trashing him while we were kind of worried about Story this year because last year we considered it fluky. We did, I know that.
Right.
Because he's always hurt.
Yeah, it was an aberration.
Yeah. So now they're starting this schmear campaign, and they're going to get rid of Story because he's a veteran that's opening his mouth, and ownership does not like it when you have insubordination.
No tears there, though. I mean, the way he's playing. See you later.
No, and I would get rid of Duran, too. Your guy. You love him, but you know what? Here's the thing.
I just love his...
They came in the locker room to talk to him. He wouldn't turn around, and he kept brushing him off. You know, you want to hear a veteran. What do you think about the manager getting fired? Blah, blah, blah. You've been on the team all these years, and he's been your manager. And he wouldn't talk. So that says right there, kind of loud, what he thought of the move. So it's all the veterans wanted to keep him, and all the young guys wanted him gone. So you have a mutiny, and that's why you end up starting 9-17 because the team were two different fashion, you know, two different groups.
I just love Durant, how hard he plays, but I guess his intensity, I mean, it goes hand in hand. His intensity is too much. I mean, he lets the fans get to him and whatnot, and you know, I don't know.
Now to wrap up the rest of the story, I'm going to put my Red Sox fans, my love-colored rose glasses on. This is how Red Sox fans see their team.
Okay.
We're not out of it. We can turn this around. Even though we can't hit home runs, we're worse than home runs. We have a new manager now who is a minor league manager because basically he is managing a minor league team. So we're going to be right back in there. We're going to win 10 in a row and get right back into the race. And that's what Red Sox fans think.
I agree that they think that way, but I don't think we feel that.
Nope.
You know? I'm a fan of the 3-run homer myself.
Yeah, I am too. And that's why I am relinquishing this hat and putting on the first place Oakland A hat.
Ooh.
And we'll continue the show from there.
All right.
All right, let's go to your Celtics.
We're running late. We got to
go.
We got to move it on. Okay. Last Wednesday, we did the show Wednesday. Today's Tuesday. We usually do the shows on Tuesday, but we did it Wednesday last week, and we had just come off Philly defeating the C's, you know, pretty handily too, by like 14 points. And we were a little bit down on our basketball team. But Friday night they came to play. It was a gutsy win. Tatum and Brown each scored 25 points, and my man Derek White, even though he's hurting from the field, he came up with an unbelievable rebound, kicked it out to Tatum, and the game was over. You know, and our boy Pritchard, 5 for 10 from 3, and those were his 15 points. And then Sunday, the return of Joel Embiid. Now tell me something, Tom. When they showed him on the sidelines and they announced he was playing, were you worried at all about him? No. And I don't think anybody was because they slow the game down when he's in the game. You know, I think they should run they shouldn't run the ball through him. you know. He had an appendectomy, and we differed on this. I said he would come back. You said he wouldn't, because the appendectomy is no longer the old slice you up appendectomy. Now it's the, you know, whatever, just a thing for your belly button. Arthroscopic, right? But, you know, Embiid had a decent game. He had 26 points, 10 boards, but it was Peyton Pritchard's night. I mean, and I love it, 32 points. He only scored it in the first 3 quarters. But the best thing was how he was chirping. He kept chirping with Reggie Miller on the sideline. So we had a little byproduct going on. So both Tatum and Brown, they started slow. They were terrible in the first half, and they ended up big. They had 14 offensive rebounds, 18 second chance points. They really looked like something. And they had 24 for 53 three-pointers. Again, we want them to go to the hoop, and they were. But when you score out of their total points, they scored 72 of the three-pointers on three-pointers. You know, you live by the 3, and you die by the 3. So I'm not totally sold on that. But I am sold on it's as we're sitting here, it's Tuesday. It ending tonight. The gentleman's sweep. It's over. What do you say?
I say it. I can sum it up quicker than that.
Okay.
They didn't hit their threes in the second game, and Philadelphia did. That's why the Celtics lost game 2 of the series. Yeah. Game 3 of the series, the Celtics hit 20 out of 47, which is 43%. In game 4, they hit 24 out of 53, which is 45%.
Right.
Basketball is so simple now. If you get your threes, you win. If you miss them, you lose. And that's it. That's it. That's my summary. And the only other thing I'll say is Mazzulla, he coaches totally different on the road. When in this game against Philadelphia in the third game, which was very important, it's the swing game, it's 1-1. You know, Philadelphia's getting a couple runs, timeout, timeout, timeout. At home, he doesn't do that. He lets, like in game 2, Philadelphia ripped off 12, 14 points in a row. Mazzulla just sat there with his thumbs up his ass. But on the road, he tends to call timeouts a lot quicker. And that's why the Celtics, over the last, 5, 6 years, have been a much better road team than a home team in the playoffs.
See, what determines the timeout, I guess it's the crowd noise and I'm going crazy and everything. And he says, hey, I gotta stop the bleeding. But at home, it doesn't have that effect, because the home team's not going to be booing their own team there. So he's going to say his philosophy is at home is to let them play it out. But I don't like that philosophy. You know, I like coaches that, they get a basket or two. Stop it right here. Stop the bleeding.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, things are breaking good for the Celtics because they're the number 2 seed in the East. The number 1 seed, Detroit's down 3-1 to Orlando. They're in big trouble.
Yeah.
And New York is playing Atlanta. That series is 2-2. And the winner of that series plays the Celtics. Yeah. So if the Celtics can wrap it up tonight in 5 games, and that New York-Atlanta series goes 7, you're going to get a tired team coming to Boston, next week.
Yeah, they're going to get almost a week off there. And now let's stay with that a minute. Who do you rather have? You want New York or Atlanta?
I want Atlanta.
You do want Atlanta?
Because Tatum, where he tore his Achilles last year, when he went to New York, he said he was playing tentatively because he was, I don't want him to go back to New York and have any more, thoughts of, in the playoffs, I hurt myself. I'd rather him go to Atlanta because Atlanta's a bunch of stiffs and they lose every year.
They are, but they're young and talented, but they're not ready for it yet. So I agree. Yeah. I agree with that. I want Atlanta now, but maybe not in a year or 2.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree. Brad Stevens was named Executive of the Year. He's the best general manager we have in Boston by far.
Yep.
I'll give him that. And then I have one question for you before we move along.
Well, we don't have to move along yet, but go ahead.
All right. Well, I want to talk about around the league. Or you have anything else to say?
Well, I want to talk about Denver is down 2-3, but they were.
Oh, well, that's where I was going.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
The other night, there was a skirmish. The Joker from Denver.
Love him.
Denver was losing by 14, and there was a rebound by, what team they playing?
Denver's playing Minnesota.
Minnesota did an outlet pass, and they put a layup in with 1.3 seconds left. And the problem was they had a 14-point lead. So the Joker, who's the best player, probably, could be in the league or close to it, went over and grabbed this guy, Jaden McDaniels, and shook him up a little and said, we don't do that. There's an unwritten rule in basketball. When the game is in hand, you don't score any more points. And he was all by himself. All he had to do was dribble the ball, and then the game was over. But instead, he scored 2 points. So he took exception to that. So you being a basketball guy, what do you think about unwritten rules? Is it Should he have been mad? If that happened against your team, would you be pissed?
Absolutely. And it's the unwritten rule. It's really not. It doesn't come into play. It usually comes into play right around a minute or less. Because you'll find out, it's in 45, 50 seconds, they just dribble it and they'll just hand it off. And actually, then the team that's losing won't even, they won't shoot. So they play that game for a minute,
Yeah.
And I think it's a good rule, and I think the guy made a big mistake by doing that because he kind of poked the bear. But one, I'll use your word, caveat to that is that this guy that scored the basket was kind of a nobody, and he got to play in that game. He wanted to get over 40 points, and that was his 40th and 41st points of the game. So, but there's no excuse for that. There's no excuse. That's just basically rubbing it in.
Yeah.
And I love that the Joker went at him. And not only did the Joker, both benches cleared, and they were pushing and shoving. And now that game right there, it put Denver down. They were down 3-1, right? And they won the game last night. Now it's 3-2. I'm predicting Denver's going to come back and win this series now.
Yeah, because that's, that could be. But, I look at it as an unwritten rule, but also the gambling aspect.
Oh,
Who
yeah.
knows what the over-under was? I mean, obviously the point spread wasn't, 14 points because with Anthony Edwards out for Minnesota.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that spread wouldn't have been that high, that's for sure.
Sure.
So, but
Yeah.
still, there's still, when you see things like that usually you don't see, you kind of question it a little deeper sometimes because of gambling. So,
Yeah, that's right.
That's
The gambling aspect always comes into play now.
It does.
Right? So Maine's Cooper Flagg won Rookie of the Year.
Nice.
Nice. Now, here's a good stat for you right here. First rookie since Michael Jordan in 1984-85 to lead his team in points, rebounds, assists, and steals. And he's 19 years old.
Nice.
Think he's got a future?
yeah, I like his chances. Yeah.
And Victor Wembanyama, unanimous Defensive Player of the Year. Not even, he'll win that the next 20 years.
All right.
That's it.
All right, I'm going to go to the Bruins real quick.
Please.
Because I don't want to waste. We're behind schedule,
do
and
it
plus
quick.
I can blast through
I don't
this.
even think Timmy wants to hear this, so just do it quick.
The Bruins are down 3-1 against Buffalo. They're going to get eliminated tonight, which is Tuesday. They lost the last 2 games at home, 3-1, and they got smoked on Sunday, 6-1. And they were down 4-0 in the first period, actually in the first 10 minutes of the game. And their last 13 home playoff games, they're 3 wins and 10 losses. And this is a team that during the regular season had the second best record behind Carolina as a home team. So you're like, wow, they play good at home ice. Not in the playoffs, they don't. They were 29-11-1 at home this year at home during the regular season, and then now they're 0-2 in the playoffs, and the season will probably end tonight, okay? Why do they lose? Because their big stars always end up sucking in the playoffs. Pasternak, who's like, pasta. He got 3 points in the first game, but he ended up...
Pasta.
And it's like, but he's out there for, he scores his goals, but he gives them up. So his plus-minus, which for anyone that doesn't know is, if you're on the ice and your team scores, that's +1, that's good. If you're on the ice and the other team scores, that's -1. So in the series, the best player, one of the best players on the planet, Pasta, is -5. Hampus Lindholm, -5. McElroy, who's the most overrated Bruins player ever, he only plays good for Team USA. He sucks on the Bruins, especially in the playoffs, -4. And Elias Lindholm, -4. Here's 4 of your top players that are so bad in the series, and you wonder why you lose them. So that's all I really got. I'm going to have a little more later on what's bugging Hammah on the Bruins, but that's it. That's all I got.
I got a question for you.
Yes.
Okay, so what happened there? I saw Swayman was taken off the ice, and he had some choice words for his teammates. Do you know anything about that?
I think it was a choice words for the coach.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because here's the thing. Game 2 of the series, they ended up winning, okay? They were up 4-0. And in the third period, Buffalo scored 2 quick goals. And the goalie dropped his stuff and is going, timeout, because the game won, the Bruins blew a 2-0 lead in the third period. And the coach is like sleeping. This Marco Stern doesn't know what he's doing. So you're down 6-0. You always take your goalie out. You want to, live to fight another day, which would mean, game 5 tonight. You want a rested Swayman. It's 6-0. Why stay in the game at that point? And he was still in the game. Usually they pull the goalie, and it's one of those things. It's not your fault, but we're going to rest you up for game 5. And he's still in the game. So when there was a TV timeout, he skated to the bench. He took himself out of the game.
I was just going to say,
He did.
I read that there was a lot of speculation that he might have taken himself out.
He took himself out. He skated to the bench, he yelled at the bench, and he went down the
That's what it
runway.
was.
Because usually a goalie, when he comes out of the game, he sits on the end of the bench.
Right.
He went right into the locker room. He was like, screw these bums.
Yeah.
The coach is an idiot, and the players stink.
Is it all over tonight?
You know what the weird thing about the Bruins, right?
They come back.
All year long, when they've looked like it's all over, they've bounced back. I wouldn't be surprised if they bounce back and then they'll lose game 6. And then Jeremy Jacobs gets one more home game.
There you go.
So
concessions.
that's it.
That's it.
So that's all I got on that.
All right, let's go to. Want to go to Vrabel Russini, the story. Now we sat here last week and we said, you know, we make a decision right now. We're not going to talk about them anymore. But this is a story that won't go away, and we cannot not talk about them.
Yeah.
Does that feel?
Well,
weird?
here's the thing. We did say last week if more information came out, and of course it did.
Yeah.
So now, this was supposed to be a one-time get-together. No, we have photos now of it going back at least till 2020, and some people say from 2018. So, Mike, show that picture. This is 2020 at a bar in New York. Mike Vrabel and Dianna Russini smooching it up in this little hole-in-the-wall place that nobody was in.
Yep.
They were having a grand old time. And then there's another photo from 2022 that Mike's going to put up. This is the night Mike Vrabel got fired as a head coach at Tennessee. And what do? You want to go home? You want to get consoled by your family? Oh, I got fired. Oh, my God, what am I going to do? No. He's at a bar in Biloxi, Mississippi, at a casino. And as you can see in this picture, he is all smiles because him and Diana are playing craps.
Oh my God.
It's like, what are we doing here?
That's a load of crap.
And then the worst of all is
there's more.
there's more. Well, we know what happened in 2026
But wait, there's
in
more.
Arizona. Yep, they got caught on top of the rooftop at the Singles and the questionable place that's for, you know, couples that don't want to be seen by people. All
Okay.
right. But this is the worst of all, I think, myself. So Dianna Russini did a post of her this is when her kid was 4 days old. Now she was married. She got married in 2020. So she's running around with Mike Vrabel in 2020, and she's getting married 6 months later. How's that going to work out?
I don't know.
So here's the thing. She's sitting there and she tweeted. Mike, put that tweet up. This is my favorite of all. She's like, so she named her kid Michael, who's 4 years old. Okay, and she goes, "Keep looking at my 4-day-old son Michael while trying to figure out who are the best Michaels ever to play and coach in the NFL." Can you imagine?
Ooh, damning words.
How-
Damning.
How is the right word brazen?
Yeah.
That you would have an affair, maybe when you get a blood test, maybe it's Mike Vrabel's kid,
Yeah.
and you name the kid Michael. This girl's got guts.
Right. Well, we're not surprised of all the things she's already come out with. Some of the stuff that she says, she was in Miami, and it was like, and she's on a panel of, I don't know where they were and what city they were, but she's on a panel. She was saying, I was in Miami, and it was like the last day on earth. I just was doing everything I wanted, and some of the stuff she comes out with is like it just keeps getting better and better.
Well, now that everyone's doing digging into her career, I mean, we talked last week that she's been linked to Sean McVay when he was an assistant with the Washington Commanders.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, we all know about she was, hooked up with the general manager of the Washington Commanders because that guy's wife posted stuff and said, "Oh, she's getting all the inside information because he's my husband's side girl."
Side girl.
You know what I mean? And now there's rumors today of Sean Payton, who is the coach of the Denver Broncos. But you have some stuff also.
Nick Caserio, we all know him from he's got a Patriots connection. He's the Houston GM. Anonymous sources, Russini dated Casino for a while, even though he was married, and they said that she loves married men. And the same post claimed that Mike Vrabel was her favorite, but she had a Rolodex full of coaches. And some of you people out there don't even know what a Rolodex is. But and this resurfaced claiming that she had a cozy relationship with Arthur Smith, the former Atlanta Falcons head coach.
Wow.
So she's getting, and wait, There's more. See, I don't know. She has what else did she say? There was two other coaches sleeping with Russini during her time covering teams.
Right.
And they don't name names, but there was two other coaches.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. And you wondered, why would someone give up $1.5 million a year job? Because she wanted all this to go away, and that's why she resigned.
Right.
Because she thought that people would stop doing the digging.
Right.
But the problem was, and this is where I don't give a crap if you're cheating. I don't give a crap he cheated. I don't give a crap she cheated, okay? But the thing is, when you get caught, you got to own up to it.
Right.
You got to man up. And both of them didn't. And that's why everybody did more digging and digging and digging. And this is where we are today. Because Vrabel said it was ridiculous. She said she was on a hiking trip. You know? If they should never, and I said that a couple weeks ago, you should never have given a statement. Don't give it any ear. Don't let it, get out there. Because it was the New York Post. Nobody listens to the New York Post unless you give it validation by going out there and saying, and responding to it.
Yeah, they were pouring gasoline on the flames by acknowledging it, But how about Vrabel then? Now he comes out and he says, well, I'm going to go to counseling. I'm going to miss the third day of the NFL draft.
Well, that's what I mean. He handled it terribly. Okay, so he came out and said it's ridiculous. Then he was a ghost for 2 weeks. And then he came out and had a press conference. He didn't tell anyone, though. It was supposed to be a couple Patriot players. We're going to talk about the off-season workouts. No, Mike Vrabel's there with limited, because who's going to get down there and talk about a player about lifting weights, right? And then like 5 minutes before the press conference, they said, Mike Vrabel's going to speak for the first time. But here's the thing. No photos, no film. You can't record it, audio or video. So he just made a statement, which did nothing. Because then, people want to see him. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So then he came out again. And then on the second time he came out, I take accountability for my actions. So what that does is throws Russini under the bus because she's been denying it the whole time. Now he's taking accountability for his actions. So you're pretty much admitting it there.
Yeah.
And then this whole thing you just said about the draft is the biggest crock of crap I've ever heard. My family needs me. So you're going to miss the last day of the draft because you had to be that day because counseling, marriage counseling, family counseling, whatever, had to be done on a Saturday. And it had to be done out in Utah because he had to fly to Utah to go out of state to do it. The whole thing stinks.
It stinks.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
My family needs me. When my family needs me, I need to be there. Now he's a family man. You know what I'm saying? And here's the thing why it's the biggest crock ever. His wife, Jen, had been married 25 years. She knows what the life of a coach is all about. She knows how important the draft is. It's where you build your team for the next season. Look what the Patriots did last year with their draft. At one point, they had 7 draft picks playing, and I think 5 of them played in the Super Bowl. It's the meat and potatoes of your team. And he walks away when you had 8 out of your 11 picks on that Saturday. And to me, this is just Mike Vrabel saying, I'm fully committed to my family. I'm not even going to go to the last day of the draft. Where his wife's probably like, who would ever stop you from doing that? You're making that decision, not me, because she knows what a football's, coach's wife, needs to put up with this time of year.
But it looks good on paper, and this smells of Kraft involvement too. They probably huddled up. Him and Vrabel said, "What are we going to do to squash this thing?" He says, "Oh, I know. Okay, we'll just hold you out. We say the counseling has to happen on the Saturday on the third day of the draft, right?" And even Elliot Wolf was saying he checked in once in a while because there was reports that Vrabel was in constant contact with him, even though he was out in Utah.
Yeah.
And that I believe. I don't believe any of this crap about, he disengaged himself from the team. And he let them run the whole thing. No. He was there. They were doing a Zoom call. He had TVs all over the place, and he was involved in every minute of that.
Well, then see, once again, right, then you're lying to us again. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
And that's why it kills me, this whole thing. It's just a string of lie after lie after lie.
Yeah.
And to me, it's like, when do you come clean? When do you man up? You know what I mean? And we still haven't come to that yet. And there are rumors there's more photos going to drop. I'm hearing there's more women coming forward talking about affairs with Mike Vrabel.
Oh, man.
And the only reason this is even a big deal is because she was reporting on him when he was in Tennessee.
Right.
And she's an NFL reporter that was reporting on the Patriots and every other team. So if these other random women happen, who cares? Because they're not going to be able to dictate anything in his professional career. Like the A.J. Brown thing. You know, she was saying all these posts how he wants out of town and the Patriots are rumored to be getting him. Is Mike Vrabel feeding her that information? Where these other random women, they don't have any pull in football. It's not going to affect his job. So who the hell cares?
She sure as hell knows what she's doing, doesn't she?
Yeah, well, the only thing she doesn't know is when she hired her publicity people to kind of help her with this situation, they really haven't. She came out initially saying that, you know, I was with a group of people, and then she said, this is sexism, they're out to get me, you know what I mean, and it's a witch hunt, and apparently it wasn't.
So the Patriots are publicly supporting Vrabel. They're calling it a personal family matter. And NFL Commissioner Roger Dale said it doesn't violate the league's personal conduct policy, and it's a team issue. See, they're not going to touch it. With all the stuff that comes across Goodell's desk, you know, all the stuff we talked about last week, you know, the wife beatings and the girlfriend beatings and the drugs and the guns and everything. He's almost laughable. Come on, this is a fear. Handle it internally. And Kraft, you know, while he's getting a massage, he's saying, this will be fine as long as you win. I don't believe he's going anywhere.
Really? Well, I think he should go somewhere. And it's all not because of what he did, but what he's done afterwards.
All right.
You know what I mean? It's like all the line. And here it is. I'm a player in the team last year. Family and team. Family, team.
Yeah.
That was his whole thing.
Yeah.
Okay? And he doesn't back up what he says.
Right.
Really.
Right.
And so I'm looking at him like side-eyed saying, can I believe anything you say? You're full of crap.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's the only thing. I think he might have. Last year they got to the Super Bowl with a lot less talent than Seattle. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Because it was the belief in him. You thought that you'd run through a wall for that guy. I'm not sure you're going to run through a wall for him anymore.
Well, with social media now, right? You're right. If more stuff keeps coming out and coming out and coming out, it takes a life of its own on. It's kind of like a death by 1,000 cuts. It's gonna eat him slowly, you know, slowly but surely, and that would kill him if all this stuff keeps coming out. And it's got to be put to bed somehow.
But like I said, I think there's more stuff coming out. And here he is. He went out to Utah. He has a place out in Utah, and whether it was just a family gathering or if it was counseling, like he said, who knows what it was. But he's got the New York Post found him and reported it in friggin' Utah. This guy is not going to have a moment's peace.
No.
Everywhere he goes, every game he coaches, they're going to be all over him, or the fans are going to be holding up pictures of her and things about him. He just might want to step away for a year.
I would bet that TMZ has a crew ready following him everywhere.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, his life's not private anymore, so
No.
to get it private, he might have to walk away.
So let's end with a question for you, Hammah.
Yeah,
After all we've talked about,
yeah.
should he remain the coach?
When they hired him, we were so excited. We were doing cartwheels.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't hurt ourselves. We just did cartwheels. And we were so excited, and I was so excited. Even up to the Super Bowl, I was so excited. But then when as bad as they played, it was kind of questionable, and I said it a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
I just think his mind's somewhere else. All this is going on. It's all distraction. And then not there for the draft. It's coming in now. It's not his personal life now. It's his professional life's being affected too.
Yeah.
I just think that you want to get the stench away from the team. I just think that you got to wash your hands of it and say, get your life together and send him on his way. That's what I think.
I'm going to stand by him and say that these things happen probably to everybody. We only find out about Vrabel's. I mean, if you look into everybody's closet, there's something, you know.
Yeah.
So he's already proven he's a good coach. So I think he's going to survive, but it's got to go away a little bit for him to survive.
Yeah. Well, the only thing I could say, and I'll wrap it up with this, what an amazing therapist he had. He spent a Saturday and a Sunday out in Utah, and he was back to work Monday morning. Isn't it amazing? That you can have this issue where he's having family counseling, where you cheat on your wife 6 to 8 years, okay? And within a 48-hour span, you're able to talk to somebody and to work it all out. It's amazing.
I've seen the light.
Yeah. So I'm glad he was back to work on Monday.
Well, let's hope it all works out well for him.
Why he couldn't been at the draft on Saturday and then maybe spent Monday and Tuesday in Utah, who knows? But
I'm telling you,
whatever.
that's a Kraft Vrabel
Yeah.
facade, and he was glued to his Zoom call. You know that he wasn't there, but he was there. If you know what I mean.
I understand.
Right.
Let's talk real football, though. Can we do that?
The draft?
Yeah, real quickly. I mean, a couple
ahead.
things showed me right away what's going to happen. I've
ahead.
been talking about this A.J. Brown trade. I think he's coming to the Patriots only because the Eagles drafted a wide receiver and they moved up to do it.
Yeah.
The Patriots didn't draft a wide receiver. So that right there speaks volumes. The only question is, if Vrabel resigns, A.J. Brown is the only reason why the Patriots want. You know, Mike Vrabel, that's his favorite player.
And the reverse, too.
Yes.
Brown wants to come because
So if
of
Vrabel's
Vrabel.
not here, do you still
Yeah.
want A.J. Brown?
Yeah.
I don't know. So I think it's going to happen if he is here.
Sure.
Yeah.
I agree. All right.
So the draft itself,
Yeah.
Patriots did some moving. They were picking 31st. They moved up to 28th. They made a trade. It wasn't it cost them a lot to move up three spots. They had to give it the 125th pick.
Right.
And they grabbed Caleb Lemieux.
Lemieux. Yeah.
And Mike, show the little, me and Mike were texting back and forth as far as this went.
Yeah.
And it was like pick 15, 16. I saw the top 6 offensive linemen go off the board. And it was like 4 or 5 picks before the Patriots. I didn't know they were going to move up. And I'm like, don't pick this guy. And they picked him.
They picked him. Right.
So we'll see what he does.
I saw some reports that he was ranked anywhere from 4th or 5th or 6th or so. And he ended up going 7th, but he's right in there with them. He had a good year. He made the Big 12 All-Conference first team, so
Yeah.
he must be something.
Yeah, the only one that, well, they said he's not good with his hands and stuff, but the only thing is he has longer arms than Will Campbell. So if I'm Will Campbell, I'm like, uh-oh.
I'm convinced because of this move right here, they're going to move Will Campbell not to the right, not right tackle. They're going to move him to guard because they drafted the right tackle, this guy Demetrius Crownover. He's the offensive tackle for Texas A&M. And if he pans out, he's going to right tackle. This new guy is going to left tackle, and then Will Campbell will go to guard.
Well, I think that guy you just mentioned, he'll probably back up Morgan Moses this year. I got Moses,
Oh,
you got
that's
one
right.
more year.
That's right.
And then I think that eventually he'll take over, but he can learn. I mean, Moses is a professional.
Oh, that's
you can
true.
learn
Yeah.
so much from him.
But he'll be
he's an older player. He could even get hurt. He might get, he might have
he'll
to
be
get in
the heir
there.
apparent anyway, but I
Yeah.
think Will Campbell's days as a tackle are numbered.
Well, let's see how he does. Yeah, they're going to give him one more shot because you don't want to spend a 4th-round pick.
What's wrong with being a guard?
I know.
I think John Hanna was a guard,
Well,
the
he
greatest
was.
guard
Greatest guard of all time.
In all time, right?
Yeah. So in the 2nd round, they moved up again.
Right.
And once again, they traded, they got the 55th pick, and they traded 63, 131, and 202. So that was a little pricey to do.
Yeah.
But they got their edge rusher from Illinois, Gabe Jacobs. I think
Yeah.
he's a player.
Yeah. So I saw a lot of film on him. He looks like the real deal, you know.
Yeah.
He's known for getting the quarterback. He made 2nd team all Big Ten, so he's for real.
So if anything, you could say the Patriots in the first 2 picks was the area in need. They got the tackle, they got the edge guy.
Yeah.
And then the 3rd one, Eli Reardon, that's the one I wanted from Notre Dame.
Yep.
Notre Dame, they're not like a crazy throwing team, but you know what? When this tight end, he's a big guy, he's like a 6'7". When he catches the ball, he's downfield. That's what you kind of want. Open it up a little. So I was once again texting with Mike, saying, hey, we should pick this guy up, and they grabbed him. So what do I know about the draft? Nothing. But I just know that in the past, me and you and I have picked some guys like the Polk and the Baker guy.
Oh, my God.
We've been able to identify guys that just can't play.
Right.
And, I think this tight
pretty
end might be
obvious.
decent, and I'm kind of worried about this offensive lineman.
Well, Polk was an easy one because he was the 3rd best receiver on his team. So when does that happen? When a guy goes that high, a 3rd best receiver, right?
Yeah, that's crazy. So another one of my conspiracy theories is, you traded all this second-day stuff
Yeah.
because Vrabel wasn't going to be there. He was going to miss 8 out of the 11 picks. So why don't we just trade some of them and move up in the 1st and 2nd round? So that could be what happened also. You know what I mean?
Anybody else of significance for you?
Not really. I mean, they
Yeah.
drafted a quarterback. They'll be like on the practice squad, but
Yeah.
that's it. I mean,
Yeah.
last year was
Texas
different.
Tech quarterback.
Yeah, they were drafting in the top, top 4 last year, so it was more exciting. This is you're getting players further down the line. This wasn't a great draft, so who knows?
Yeah, most of these picks are not going to pan out, you know. And,
Yeah.
hopefully the first 3 or 4 do, though, you know. So,
Yeah. So I had a what's bugging Hammah. I mean, I can wait till next week if you want because we're running late.
Yeah, let's
All right.
whatever you want.
All right, I'll do it real quick.
Go ahead.
I got to talk about what's bugging Hammah, the Boston Bruins. Okay, it's supposed to be the original 6 of hockey, one of the first 6 original teams. Okay, it's like hockey royalty, but no, it's not. You really got to dig into it. The Bruins have won 1 title since 1972. In 56 years, they've won 1 championship. And what does that have to do with anything? Jeremy Jacobs bought the team in 1975. 51 years, 1 championship. They're built to make the playoffs and to win a round or 2 and always lose, okay? And the thing is, they never change anything. Harry Sinden was the general manager from 1972 to 2000. Why? Because he wouldn't spend any money. Now you have GM Don Sweeney. He's been there 11 years, since 2015. President Cam Neely's been there since 2010, 16 years. And they only won 1 time because Tim Thomas
Stood on his head.
played some of the best goaltending the world has ever seen. He stole so many playoff series. Without him, they would have been eliminated in the first round, okay? So the problem is
Agreed.
Jeremy Jacobs has got to go. But he never will go because he bought the team for $10 million. It's worth $3 billion now. He owns Boston Garden. He owns all the concessions. The Celtics pay him rent, and when the Celtics play, he gets all the revenue from their gate as far as they pay rent to play at the Boston Garden, so he gets that money. Plus, he gets all their concessions also. So it doesn't matter that his team bounced out in the first round every year. The Celtics tend to go really far in the playoffs, and that's money in his pocket. So all I'd have to say is it's never going to get any better. And when they decide to sign guys like Pasternak, $11.25 million, he does nothing in the playoffs. McElroy, $9.5 million. He sucks in the playoffs. And Swayman, $8.25. It proves that if your team doesn't play well in front of you, I don't care how good your goalie is, you can't win. So the 3 highest paid players underachieve in the playoffs, and this is what you get.
Good job. Good job. Yeah. The bottom line is they still sell out every game.
They do.
Yeah.
Bruins fans are the most dedicated fans that Boston has.
And that's saying something because the Red Sox are right there too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
Bruins they're number 1
True.
as far as fans. Yeah. Okay, how about a Mike's Minute? I want to talk about Derek White again. We talked about him a couple of weeks ago, but the Celtics, everybody knows, it's common knowledge, everybody knows that he's in a shooting slump, right? But I'm here to tell you the Celtics have Derek White's back. The three specifically aren't falling, but here's Tatum on White. They interviewed him. How important is White? We need him. We need him. We need him. Case closed. Peyton Pritchard. All he had to say was, did you see that offensive rebound he got, referring to the huge rebound he got late in the game Friday night, and he kicked it out to Tatum himself, and they won the game. Joe Mazzulla, anybody that ever doubts Derek White, then they don't care about winning. He can impact winning in many different ways. I'm always going to double down on his competitive character and who he is. So they have his back. He leads the league in block shots by a guard. He's the recipient of the NBA Sportsman of the Year, and they asked him about it, and he said, is that questioning your competitiveness? He said, no, I'm as competitive as the next guy, but what I do is I have respect for the other teammates, other teams' players, where that doesn't always go hand in hand. There's a lot of what do you call it, trash talking going on out there. So, hey. I just want everybody to join me in hoping that Derek gets out of his slump, but we got his back.
All right, great. Well, hopefully you have my back next week. Next week, I will be in Philadelphia for the Sacramento, Vegas, Oakland A's playing on the Phillies, so I'll be gone for the week. So hopefully maybe Tom Petro will step in.
Yeah, we'll get some. Probably, yeah.
Yeah. And that'll be good because we can get his take on as far as his Vrabel stuff and the draft and things like that because he's a big football guy. So, and then whatever else happens next week. So I'll be watching. Hopefully.
And we got the Celtics and the Bruins tonight, right?
Yep.
And then what else?
Lots to talk about. Lots to talk about.
Maybe we won't talk next week about Vrabel. We'll see what happens.
Unless something else comes up. Maybe I'll call in. Who knows?
We'll do a call in.
There you go. All right. So if you like the show, subscribe, give it a like, and I'll see you in 2 weeks. You'll see Mike next week.
Thank you, folks.